Okay, welcome back. Welcome back again. Welcome back to another lesson and another blessing with yours truly, the counselor. Welcome back to Domestic Issues with the Counselor, Mr. James Horton. Welcome back to my class. All right. I got another tasty hit for us all. We're continuing to experience new things that's set out to wake our game up in different ways, and sometimes it's like a curveball. It curves when it's thrown, and most of the time people think you may have thrown it with your left hand versus your right hand, and it's hard to really see what the bigger picture is. And but before we get started with all that, again, I would like to request from you and ask of you, as I continue to help you and help myself as I help you. You know, they said in one of the programs I'm connected to, the only way you can keep what you have is by giving it away. So that's what I do. I constantly give it away, and it's worth a whole lot. You know, all you have to do is open your minds and allow it to come in as you've allowed other things to come in. Just push the subscribe button. It's my request from you. I'm going to keep digging and pushing to help you, your children, yourself, your relationships. And this is what Domestic Issues is all about. And it's coming straight from your number one guy, your counselor, Mr. James Horton, all right? So just push subscribe. Subscribe to Domestic Issues with the Counselor, Mr. James Horton, all right? We're going to be covering all kinds of topics, domestic violence topics, domestic topics in the street, black on black crime, cultural crimes with one culture to the next culture. It's going to cover so much. And I just suggest you climb aboard and strap your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride of a lifetime. All right? This paper today is called Turning the Other Domestic Cheek, right? Turning the other cheek. You know, you've heard it before. You know, they say if somebody hits you over here, hit them over on this side. I mean, let them hit you on the other side. You know, and stuff like that. Don't hit back and all that. And so we're going to delve into that. It says, the definition of turning the other cheek or the domestic cheek is to refrain from retaliating when one has been attacked or insulted. It's also an expression derived from the Bible, meaning love your enemy while resisting them nonviolently. It says, I will not seek revenge because I am stronger than that. I will not respond with shame because I have dignity with my God, my higher power. Turning the other cheek is really a powerful response, as it may require a great deal of self-control, which is powerful to do in some cases. It's painful to do in some cases, excuse me. Offer our attackers our other cheek to strike as well as a way of representing our commitment to an extreme form of pacifism in which we willingly allow ourselves to come to harm rather than take measures to protect ourselves that requires us to harm someone else. Ask yourself questions. Number one says, right? Domestic turning cheek. When you're encountering a verbal threat or potential harm to you, your career, or someone you love, do you turn your cheek or seek to defeat, right? When you're encountering that, man, when you know the job is on the line, the relationship of a lifetime is on the line, you know, you got that bad or that bad girl or that whatever, you got that, and you feel like you stand to is in jeopardy or something, or somebody might take what you got, you know, and do you just allow them to just hit you from both sides, right? Even hit you in the back of the head with something. Do you just allow them to do it and keep doing it, you know? And is that the right approach to take? This is going to be one of the questions we want our mind to absorb during this here lesson. Number 2 says, domestic cheek turner. Domestic cheek turner. In most abusive relationships described as one-sided and two-sided turning cheeks, do you blame one cheek for secret issues and defeats? Do you blame one cheek for secret issues and deceit? Or do you blame your domestic turning cheek for causing your relationship from being complete? Domestic cheek turner. In most abusive relationships described as one-sided and two-sided turning cheeks, do you blame one cheek for secrets and deceit, or do you blame your domestic turning cheek for causing your relationship from being complete? Right? It's a lot of times in many of these disruptive, unbalanced, radical relationships. Yeah, it's easy. It's easy just to give you a little chip of what we're going, and it's only one chip because there's many chips in this. Is that I've counseled groups, and I've brought up the subject of when my clients tend to blame the other person. Oh, this person is messed up. This person is so bad. This person did this, did that to me. And I asked the question, how long have you been with this person? They said, oh, I've been with this person for 5 years. And so I was like, okay, well, it's your fault. They said, no, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I said, is part of it your fault? They said, no, not even part of it is my fault. Not even one side of it is my fault. I said, is there two sides to it? Is there any domestic turning cheeks to it where there's another page to this, another side, another part of the face to this? They said, no. I said, I don't agree with you. They said, why is that? I said, because for one, you made a choice to get in the relationship with them. For two, you spent 5 years. Many of us spend 5 or more years, maybe 20, knowing who this person is and accepting whatever treatment you accept from them. So in that, you must take responsibility for the part you continue to play, and the part you played by doing a lack of interviewing upon getting into the situation you're in. This is something to think about. Okay. Number 3, domestic turning cheek. Do you turn up to turn down, or do you turn the other cheek to stay down and stay around? Domestic turning cheek. Do you turn up to turn down, or do you turn the other cheek to stay down and stay around? Right? Sometimes you guys have gave me that word, that turn up, right? Sometimes we need a little something. Sometimes you believe you need something. You believe the turn up is going to fix something, right? Sometimes you just can't get loose. You just can't turn to go somewhere else. You find yourself stuck, right? And you do whatever you can to deal with being stuck. So turning up many times is actually a turn down, right? Because you might need to be turning out and getting out, instead of trying to stay around. All right? This is something I wanted to feed you. All right, number 4, domestic turning cheek. Are you standing on the strongest side of your cheek, or are you standing on the weakest side of defeat? Domestic turning cheek. Are you standing on the strongest side of your cheek, or are you standing on the weakest side of defeat, right? And that's not really standing. That's not really standing. We're standing for something, right? Because, you can stand for a whole lot of nothing, right? Number 5, domestic turning, backwards turning cheek. Are you always turning where you're watching, or are you always backwards turning where you're going? Are you always turning where you're watching, right? You hear a noise and you turn in that direction. You hear some music, you turn in that direction. You hear some loudmouth people just talking about a whole lot of loudmouth nothings, and you turn there. But then, you can be also backwards turning, right? Backwards turning. backwards turning and in trouble. Domestic turning cheek. Are you always, it says, are you always turning where you're watching, or are you always backwards turning where you're going? Right? See, backwards turning don't do us no good because, it wasn't really good in the first place, right? Why would one want to go backwards? Why would one want to go pick up something that you left? If you left it, you're not supposed to go back to it, right? Not really. You're not really supposed to go back to what's done, what's in the past, right? Who wants to venture into the past versus venture into a future, right? I mean, that's backwards, right? And if you go all the way backwards, you won't even be here no more, right? So think about that, all right? Number 6, domestic turning cheek. Are you always other cheek-sided, or are you one-sided when you're in a confrontation or in denial and you refuse to see all sides of what you need to see? Domestic turning cheek. Are you always other cheek-sided, or are you one-sided when you're in a confrontation or denial and refuse to see all sides of what you need to see? We do that. I don't want to just look at this one side. I don't want to be looking at the whole side. I just would rather look at I just want to look at the one side. Why you tripping? Because somebody loves you, and somebody sees what you don't see and what you refuse to see, and somebody might be actually trying to save your life or save your future life that you can have, if you see what you need to see and make a decision, right? You deserve the best. Coming from your counselor, you do. You deserve the best. We all deserve the best life that we can have and we can live, right? Number 7, domestic weaker, harder, and smarter turning cheek. Question: when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, do you feel when Chris didn't retaliate back that he was being weak, hard, or smart? Do you feel when he received that slap in front of national billions of people watching, do you actually feel, I know the thinking of the hood, the spot, the turf, the flatlands, I know the thinking, right? But yet I've been developing my thinking out of that pit, because it's a pit mixed in with all kind of people, smart people, slow people, dumb people, radical people, and many times retarded people, right? We haven't advanced past the stoplight in our neighborhood. And so the thinking pattern is amazing, right? The thinking pattern is amazing. I once read something and it said 10% is what happens to you, and 90% is how you react to what happened to you. 90% is what I do. Believe it or not, if I don't pause, it's very important, you guys. A lot of people are dying because they won't pause, breathe, and think. And they can be in a situation where someone's pointing a gun at them, and they want to talk crazy, right? Just respond right to the pistol or the gun or the weapon that's right in front of them without thinking their way out of something. And you respond real crazy like, and what happens, man? Your life could be gone just like that. Even on an accident, the person may not have meant to pull the trigger, but you move too fast and it can be over. So another thing, it's already one person's career that's on the line, or could be on the line. Let's say that. Anybody can come up short. Anybody can be fired. Anybody can be stripped for everything they have, which can jeopardize their families and their career and everything. Go down bad in the end, and later commit suicide even. But if you react too fast, if you do something so crazy, if you're a biter, if you grew up as a child being a biter, and you like to bite people's face and ears and all that, and if he had bitten Will, or some crazy something he did, right? Stuffed the microphone down Will's throat and killed him. I mean, your career will be damaged. But everybody says if they were him, they would have socked the guy up. Okay, you just hold on to that one. You hold on to that one. There's a lot to lose by reacting. A lot of times the bigger man is those that don't react back, those that hold their cool. In the bigger picture, later on as we go in this story and as time takes on more time, one will see that he wasn't being a punk and he wasn't trying to be hard, right? He wasn't being weak. He was actually being smart, all right? So I would rather be smart. There's a whole lot of hard men and women today that's hard and didn't want to show that they were weak, you know, and didn't want to take on smart. But the hard guys are in prison for the rest of their life. So it's something to think about, all right? Think about it. Number 8, domestic turning, drug user, drug abuser. Are you able to turn away or walk away from drugs that has always used you and abused you? Are you able to do that? Are you able to make that necessary turn, right? Are you able to say, you know what, I was on my way to auntie and them house and mama and them house, but mama stay in the hood and they all next door or in front of mama house selling them drugs and stuff like that. And I could go to mama house or I could tell mama to come to my house so I don't have to put myself in jeopardy. Are you able to do that? And I hope you are, because it's not an easy challenge all the time. Most of the time, many times people want to go back and use a lie or an excuse, you know, and make a turn, right, saying they miss their friends. But the people that sold you drugs, if you really examine it, was not your friends ever in the first place, right? What friend feeds their friend poison? Something to jog your mind with. Number 9, domestic confused cheating turning cheat. Domestic confused cheating turning cheek. When it comes to your infidelity, purpose, or acceptance of cheating, do you believe your acceptance is the same as your purpose, or is your purpose the same as your acceptance if your relationship partner cheats on you, right? Now, we want to be accepted. We got a purpose. We got to get us some of that, right? And yeah, we really do. We want to fix it up, and we want to go out there and do what we want to do, even though we in committed relationships, committing infidelity in our partnerships and marriages and all that. We do that, right? But the question is, when it's all good for you, is it all good for them if they do it to you, right? Oh man, it brings on a multitude of feelings. Now it's something wrong. You go and we go, how could you do me like that? I mean, how dare you? You know, how dare you be unfaithful? But your whole relationship was unfaithful on your side of the street. But now it's another picture, right? So watch out for those cheek turners and turning the other cheek. Watch out for that. Number 10, we're going to close this out. Domestic turning offensive. Domestic turning offense, defense, and created nonsense. Are you known to change an offense into a defense or a defense into an offense by using the tools of created nonsense in most of your relationships? Domestic turning offense, defense, and created nonsense. Are you known to change an offense into a defense or a defense into an offense by using the tool of created nonsense in most of your relationships? I mean, like, you know, going back to Will and going back to the story. Will had a story of the movie he had gotten an award for. He hadn't got the award yet. He couldn't even wait. He just was, you know, and it was amazing to me. I see the whole picture in the movie. I mean, it would probably been a slightly good movie, but I don't know. It couldn't have. It couldn't have held me and kept me confused because I could really see something was really wrong with Will before the attack. Most of us have heard different stories about the relationship that one has had. I'm geared in the area to think about um, how you really want to be careful on who you invite to your house. Um, you can invite a big star like Chris Rock to your house. Um, and you can invite a handsome or whoever you think about Chris, or many people. So you invite these people to the house. And sometimes when your relationship is wobbling and stuff like that, and you have all these people that can just knock on the door or just walk into your door, friends you say, right? You never know. One of the issues that men have, right, and it's nothing I think is wrong with this particular section in a man's life, but every man wants to be the king of his house. Every man wants to be the movie star of his house, the top movie star, the greatest star ever in his house, and also if he's into acting on the screen. We all want to be the best. We want to be up there with the Denzels and also the Wills. You know, we have a lot of good actors, you know, going way back to Sidney Poitier. All of us want to do that, but sometimes it can waver when you bring another big star in, another talent in, another creator in, when the ideas are circulating around the house, in front of the wife, in front of the husband. These things get built on you. You don't say anything about them. You don't want to show any insecurity, but a lot of times even our spouse knows, even our partner knows that there's some issue brewing because maybe the wife says, hey, I think he's great. Those kind of things. And some of us can't take hearing our partner say someone else is a nice looking person, someone else is smart, someone else is talented. We want the whole arena. But that's something that we actually need to work on. There are issues in relationships where we are working, and many of you are working through something, right? Working through some damage that happened, trying to clean up some mess that you spilled on the floor or on the coffee table. And during that time, things can happen. There's a buildup, you know, where suppressed anger, suppressed issues that haven't been resolved, haven't been cleared out. And you can go into an arena in a place, in an Oscar even, and something can trigger that. Something can trigger that because, as Will said himself, there was no reason at all during his apology. And it was hard for him to get to that right away. You know, still anger and built up stress that really had nothing to do with Chris, as I would believe. People say, oh, he said this. I heard it as a compliment. G.I. Jane is a fine white woman, right? That's why we love the movie. Her haircut, even as a white woman, a black woman, looks so attractive, so sexy. And a lot of times the compliment is the problem. We want to go into apicias and all that, but the compliment is the problem coming from another person. If a woman had said the same joke or whatever with the compliment, I believe Will or any man wouldn't have had the same problem, wouldn't have made any issue of it. We would have all laughed and moved on, right? We probably would have continued to use the G.I. Jane name, you know, as we saw her, you know, those kind of things. So I just wanted to bring that to you. In closing, again, I would like you to subscribe to my channel, Domestic Issues with the Counselor, Mr. James Horton, on YouTube.